Now we'll look at the properties of multiplication. We'll focus on the commutative property, the associative property, the distributive property, and the identity property. Let's get started with the commutative property. So this just simply states that when two numbers are multiplied together, the product is the same regardless of the order of the numbers. So let's look at 6 times 5. What this property is saying is 5 times 6. 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 6 is 30. So we can see that it's true. Now we have 12 times 8 is the same as 8 times 12. We can see that this is definitely true. So that's the commutative property. It just simply means that the order of the numbers in the multiplication does not really matter. Let's look at the associative property. Here it states that when 3 or more numbers are multiplied together, the product is the same regardless of the grouping of the numbers. So let's look at an example. 3 times 4 times 5. So we're saying that regardless of the grouping, we should get the same result. So I'm going to group right here, and then I am going to group right here. So 3 times 4, that's 12 times 5. Now 3, and then we'll multiply 4 times 5 is 20. 12 times 5, that gives us 60. 3 times 20 also gives us 60. Let's look at an example where we have 4 numbers in the multiplication. So we'll go 4 times 5 times 6 times 7. 4 times 5 times 6 times 7. So I'm going to group these together, and then I'm going to group these together, and here I'm just going to group this right here. So what we're saying is that regardless of how I group them, we should get the same result. 4 times 5 gives us 20 times 6 times 7. That should give us 42. Now we have 4 times 30 times 7. 20 times 42, that should give us 840. 4 times 30 is 120 times 7. This is going to give us 840. So we can see that the rule, this property rings true. Now we're going to look at distributive property. It's similar to the distributive property for additions. So all it's simply saying, as we recap that, is that the sum of two numbers multiplied by a third number is the same as the sum of each of the numbers multiplied by the third number. So an addend is a number that is involved in an addition, just to clarify. So I have 4, 6 plus 5. What this is telling us is that it's going to be the same as 4 times 6 plus 4 times 5. This is 4 times 11. This is going to give us 4 times 6 is 24, plus 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 11, that will give us 44. 24 plus 20 gives us 44. One last example on this property. Let's try 3 and then 5 plus 12. This is supposed to tell us that we have 3 times 5 plus 3 times 12. So this is 3 times 5 plus 12. That should give us 17. 3 times 5, that should give us 15. Plus 3 times 12, that should give us 36. 3 times 17, that gives us 51. 15 plus 36, that also gives us 51. So you can see how this property applies. It's the same as when you're dealing with addition, just so you remember that. Finally, we're going to look at the identity property, and this simply states that the product of a number and 1 is the same as the original. So 3 times 1 is 3, 8 times 1 is 8, 41 times 1 is 41, 328 times 1 is 328. So simply put, when a number is multiplied by 1, the result is the number that was multiplied by 1. So that's pretty much what the identity property is. And so these are all the properties that you need to worry about or think about when you're dealing with multiplication.